If you want to turn yourself into a superhero that can turn into flames, then stick around because that's what we're going to see in this video using Adobe After Effects. Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ignace Aleya and welcome to VFX Explained, the show where we look at a certain effect from a blockbuster movie or a viral video and try to recreate it. So in this case, I wanted to create a superhero turning into flames, a little bit like the movie Fantastic Four. I know it's kind of an old movie, but I always wanted to create this effect, so here we go. I have to record my video outdoors because inside the echo is really terrible over here. It's not prepared for video. But right here I have so much wind, so much inconsistent light. I don't know what to do. If you have any tips, definitely share. So these are the topics that we will discuss in this video. The video setup, how to record your video, what settings do you need, and how do we prepare our shoot to achieve this effect. The second part is the keying techniques that we will use to separate ourselves from the background. The third point is going to be tracking, where we will see how to track each different part of your body in order to make the fire stick to that part of the body, as all parts move separately. And then the last point is actually applying the fire and all the effects in order to achieve our final effect. And I'm also going to be giving you 5 tips in order to make sure that your fire looks realistic and no matter what fire VFX you're doing. So let's get started. The first thing that I've done is record myself. What I try to do here is don't do any quick sudden movements. You really want your video to flow because we're going to be rotoscoping ourselves out. You also want to increase your shutter speed on your camera. That way you don't have that kind of motion blur when you move your hands, and that's going to make it a lot easier for your rotoscoping tools to actually key out yourself. Another way to record yourself is actually using a green screen. We actually had a green screen in the past that broke down on us, and I tried out this new green screen. It was actually the first time that I was going to be using it, and oh boy, did I not expect that it would be so big. Yeah. Anyway, you can record yourself against the green screen. Just make sure that in both scenarios you also record your shot on a tripod, and you also want to have a shot where you're not in that shot. You actually want the clean plate of your environment so you can always bring that back on top of you. This is especially important when you're going to be recording with green screen so you can place your background back into place afterwards in post. Alright, so now that we have our footage, now it's time to apply some visual effects. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about today's video sponsor, Sounddraw.io. Sounddraw.io is a platform where you can license your music for your videos. The thing that makes them unique is actually the ability to customize your track completely. So they offer you a track, but you can change the melodies, the bass lines, the drums, the speed, like everything that is on that song, you can completely modify it, and it kind of keeps the same vibe of that song, but in a completely different way, and I was literally mind blown when I tried it out. Also, all the music that you hear in the background on this video is all from Sounddraw.io. I played a little bit with it myself and I customized the songs to my needs. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to check it out for yourself, the link will be in the description below. So now that we have our footage, we need to key out ourselves. For that, I used RotoBrush 2.0, which is actually a really powerful RotoBrush tool, and it made it pretty easy to actually key out myself. Once you have yourself keyed out, I duplicated myself a few times just to have my roto isolated, and you can either render this out or pre-comp this, and then I applied some effects such as tint, invert, and playing some with the colors. Basically what I am trying to achieve here is my body lighting up. I want to be the superhero that illuminates the fire, that emits the fire. I don't want to be a guy burning, because in that case you would like your body to be dark and you would also like it to look a little bit burned or something. A little bit like in Project Power, where they created this fire for this character, but he's actually burning up from the inside out. So that's a really cool effect, but not what I'm trying to achieve right here. I then also duplicated my original footage where I applied some filters in order to make it better for the tracker that I will be using. In this case, I will be using Mocha AE, where I just select each different part of my body and I track it individually. Important here is to always uncheck the gear when you start on another track, because otherwise it's going to retrack that previous mask. For people that already have used Mocha, a little tip there. So once I have tracked all my limbs, I closed Mocha and saved all the data, and I created nulls for each separate body body part again, just keeping the names consistent. And then I just parented each tracking data to each individual null. Then I used my roto again and I created some kind of mask using just mask layers and animating them to actually make the fire grow on my body. And I used that as an alpha matte for my roto. For the fire elements, I actually used our own pack. We created a fire elements pack, which is really powerful and has a lot of variety. It's really hard to find the exact fire that you want, so we created our own pack with our own needs in a high resolution. So our fire elements are at 4K resolution, and yeah, you can completely customize them if you want them to be overexposed or underexposed. We wanted to give you that complete freedom. Anyway, so I imported these fire elements and just started placing them all over my body, and I just made them ignite on that moment, and I just parented them to the correct null that represents the part of where the fire is. So this is kind of time consuming because you have a lot of elements, but you have complete freedom after all. By the way, if you want to learn how to create some epic VFX, I've got some good news for you. I'm going to reopen the doors to the Epic VFX Masterclass. I'm just finishing up some new content that I'm brewing, and it's going to be awesome. We're always trying to add more and exciting content. Once that's finished, I'm going to reopen the doors, so stay tuned for that. If you don't want to miss out your opportunity to join in this Epic VFX Masterclass, you can sign up by going to learnepicvfx.com or just click the link in the description below, and I'll see you there. For fire, there are 5 pointers that you need to follow in order to get realistic looking fire. In the first case, you have your fire that you want to apply, but you also need the smoke. Smoke every day. When you take a look at fire, which I definitely recommend you do, and what you will see is that fire consists of fire, of smoke, of embers, displacement in the background. Especially when you do a barbecue, you will see that it kind of has that kind of haze that is a little bit blurry, a little bit of displacement in the actual vision of the background. And then you also have embers that you want to add, which are these little sparks that are flying up in the air when your fire is burning. So that's exactly what I have done. I used our own fire pack in order to apply the fire to my body, and I just parented that to each different null that represents that body part. For the fire embers, I use Trapcode Particular. It's a really powerful particle emitter plugin for Adobe After Effects, and I just use my roto as an emitter for the particles to fly upwards with some gravity and wind going up. Then I wanted to create some smoke, so I just imported some smoke from our smoke pack and I tried to fit it in with my original footage. And then for the displacement, I just used a displacement map that brings me to this final result for the fire. I applied some glow effects to it and some final color correction, making the colors match, making the highlights match. And yeah, all of this combined together brings us to the end of this video. This is my final result. Alright, so that brings us here. Now I have this awesome superpower. Check this out. Whoa! Isn't this awesome? Alright, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell if you want to stay notified when I upload new videos. And apart from that, I'm going to leave you with one of my other videos, which you can check out right here. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, create epic videos.